You're listening to the Nothing But Good podcast, a show that believes you should know where your food comes from, or more specifically, who it comes from. Each week, we bring you new interviews with the makers and founders of the brands you love so you can see how they came to be and what makes them different. We focus on telling the stories of emerging brands and brands who are committed to using better for you ingredients in the snacks they create. Every episode of the Nothing But Good podcast is brought to you by O Goodie Box, a snack box subscription service that sends healthier snacks directly to your home or office so that you have the fuel you need to make your greatest impact each day. Order your first box at ogoodiebox.com and use code PODCAST for 15% off your first order. That's OGoodie, OHGOODIE box.com and code PODCAST for 15% off your first order. Now grab a snack and let's get to today's show. Well, Todd, thank you so much for being on the show. For anyone listening or watching, would you mind introducing yourself and a little bit about Wodo, and then we'll kind of dig into the specifics.
Of gluten-free plant-based cookie dough bars that start at 140 calories.
That is so good. You think cookie dough and you think a lot more than 140 calories. So that's nice. Would you mind, before we get into Wodo, what were you doing before you created this delicious cookie dough bar?
So I was the founder of a co-working incubator space in Cleveland called Launch House. I started in 2008 as a place to bring entrepreneurs, freelancers, remote workers, investors together into one single split space to help people get their start. Um, Today, actually, Wodo is based out of Launch House, which is about a 20,000 square foot space in Highland Heights, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland.
Nice. So do you still have Launch House and Wodo?
Yeah, so Launch House still operates today. It's very much a space of just entrepreneurs, small growing businesses. As I said, in a suburb outside of Cleveland. But that's really kind of the center of entrepreneurship and kind of activity in northeastern Ohio.
That is so cool. And what kind of led you to start Launch House?
So I was originally from Cleveland. I moved away to go to college, and I came back. And when I came back, I recognized that a lot of my peers and other people were not staying in Cleveland. They were moving to other cities across the country that are more thriving, like Austin, like Boston, like LA. And I really wanted to create a place that would draw people back to Cleveland. And I felt that entrepreneurship was a really good way to do that. And especially there's a low cost of living, great access to resources. And so in 2008, I started Launch House as kind of this, more of a mission-driven organization. And it's kind of grown from just a mission to actually being a full-fledged co-working incubator space where whether you have an idea or you have a small business or even some Fortune 1000 companies and Fortune 500 companies use our space as a remote workspace for their employees.
Gosh, that is so cool. I love that it all started with just a love for your hometown. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was just, I just wanted to find a way to make a difference and try to help, just do my part to help bring people back or help people start their own business and make a difference. Um, I'm not sure I ever thought Launch House would still be here, looking back on it, because it was really just, me at 25 years old, just, trying to make a difference. And, over the years, we really figured out how to make an impact, but also found a way to be sustainable.
Gosh, I love that. And then where in that journey you already have this successful incubator for people to come to, and what kind of brought Wodo into life? Like what made you think to even get into the food industry?
Sure. So as a kid, my family owned a restaurant, and from the age of 5, I used to go down there and help, and I'd work with the baker, and I would eat as much like baked goods or raw baked goods as I possibly could. But I was always super sick as a kid. I remember every time I would eat, I'd be sick. And then in 2011, I got diagnosed with a severe gluten intolerance. And so at Launch House, not only are we a co-working incubator space, we also made investments in small early stage companies. So at the time, we started looking at like better for you food products. And it really kind of changed being now that I had this new diagnosis, having to go gluten free myself, always being a junk food eater. I kind of changed the way I started eating myself and then started looking at different companies in the food space. And then between 2011 and like 2018, we were involved in like investing and even just involved in the food space kind of at a higher level. Um, but then, in 2015 and 2017, two of my three boys were born, and they both have severe gluten intolerances. And so I was really looking around the marketplace and recognized that there are a lot of candy bars out there. There are a lot of protein bars, but everyone loves cookie dough. But it really was not an option for the 50 million people out there that suffer from some sort of allergy. And so I did a lot of research. I recognized that if you want a cookie dough, and even if they're for the healthy cookie dough that's out there, you need a spoon and a cup. And that's not really the best way to eat cookie dough on the go. So we decided that we were going to make a plant-based cookie dough bar that was, really gluten-free, allergen-friendly, and can be eaten on the go.
I love that so much. What as someone who's recently gotten into like the gluten free and like I haven't been tested, but just doing like my self diagnosis, I'm pretty sure that I'm also gluten and have a gluten intolerance. But what you grew up eating these sweets your whole life, eating these baked goods your whole life, and then what was the moment when you realized that you needed to be tested, or like how did you, for anyone listening, like what was that, I don't know, that turning point where you're like, wait, something's wrong?
So I was out for dinner with my really close friend Dennis, and we had just had like two loaves of bread, and like the next day he's like, "Oh, you want to go out tonight?" And I was like, "I'm so sick, I cannot go out." Like he's like, and his wife had just been diagnosed with gluten intolerance as well, and he's like, "You really should go gluten free." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, like just kind of like." I think 2011, right? Celiac, gluten allergy, it was very much on the fringe. And so,
Yeah.
but literally, he said that to me, and I said, something, I've got nothing to lose. My whole life, I would eat, I would indulge, I'd be sick. And it's, again, I gotten so used to it that I was like, okay, it's just part of my life. But then once I stopped eating gluten, stopped putting that in my body, like I just felt so much better every time every time I would eat. I went from always having a stomach ache to feeling perfectly fine. And so once you kind of have that transition in your life, sure, you have to give up some of the things you love, but at the same time, your body, your mind, everything feels so much better. And really, for me, that was the turning point.
I love that. I do think it's fair to mention that it's a trade-off, but the trade-off is worth it, that you actually get, more energy, a clearer head. You just feel better. I don't know. I feel so much better. So, um, for your kids, how did you find out that they had gluten intolerance? Like, did you guys actually do a test, or did you kind of do like the self-diagnosis too of like, oh, hey, we gave them bread and they're not feeling well?
So for my son Henry, we actually had him tested, and he was diagnosed right away. And then my son Grayson, it was just kind of once myself, my son Henry, then my son Grayson. We were like, okay, with Grayson, we're just gonna go gluten free because I suspect he's gonna have the same issue. And then my son Remy, who's now a little over one, we're just assuming he has a gluten intolerance as well. So we
Yeah.
just kind of decided, something, we're kind of already there. Um,
Right.
as they get older with Grayson and Remy, we may try introducing some gluten back to see what happens. But we're pretty certain that all three of them have gluten intolerances.
That makes sense. It would if you and two out of three do, I'm gonna put the money on the third one
Yeah,
too.
and I do feel terrible because I do know it's my fault, right? I know
Oh no.
it is her, it is known that it can be hereditary, and so it is probably my fault, right? Not that it's truly my fault, but it is my fault, right?
Right.
It's in my gene pool.
Oh man, don't carry that load. Well, gosh, and you created them a delicious treat that they can enjoy one day. So, with Wodo, how has that been? Like, what's the response been? You had this idea to put cookie dough into a bar form that anyone could enjoy. And so how did the market respond to that?
So we officially launched in November of 2020, and it's been a really strong acceptance in the market. We sell both on Amazon and on our website, and we're in about 500 retail locations nationwide.
Wow.
And so it's been very, very well received because who doesn't love cookie dough? And then for the people
Right.
that out there that can't have cookie dough, they're like, oh my God, now here's a treat that I can absolutely enjoy and I can enjoy it on the go. Um, One of the things as well is that with Wodo, we have 6 flavors. So think about all your favorite cookie dough indulgent flavors. So chocolate chip, brownie batter, sprinkle sugar, peanut butter chocolate chip, and peanut butter. So, if you're a sugar cookie person, we have a product for you. If you're a peanut butter person, or if you just want your traditional chocolate chip or brownie batter, which are my
Mhm.
two personal favorites, we offer that. And so it's been really, real, very well received, especially in the gluten free plant based market. But really, just for anyone who wants a better for you on the go indulgent treat, Wodo is kind of like your go to.
I love it. And I love that you mentioned the different flavors too. When you think of, well, when I think of cookie dough, I just immediately think of chocolate chip. Like that was my favorite cookie dough. It's still my favorite cookie dough. So I love that there's a bar for everyone. And for you, you came back from college, you started this incubator, and then you started Wodo. So what's it like kind of managing the two worlds? It kind of sounds like you're a little bit of a serial entrepreneur. So how is it going? You have these three boys at home. Like, how do you manage all of the things?
Yeah, so I mean, Launch House is more of an established organization, and through Launch
Mm.
House, kind of afforded me the opportunity to be involved with other ventures as well. So while Wodo is the first food company I've started from the ground up, I've had the opportunity to be involved with other food and especially plant-based businesses. Um, and it's been really exciting. I mean, for me to actually take an idea that I created and then actually get it to the market and really have an impact not only on my family's life but on other people's, that's really what's most rewarding. Knowing that, I'm giving this treat to someone who typically beforehand could not have it.
Mm.
Um, Being a small brand, there's lots of challenges that happen every single day. Where with Launch House, we've been around for a long time. We're an established brand, well, established here in northeastern Ohio,
Yeah.
and it's kind of I know what I'm getting into every day. Where Wodo, every day is different, so there's good and bad to that. But I really do like the challenge of it, and I feel very confident about the impact we're making. I also look forward to the future products we can build upon. Or can you take that one piece out? Um, I look forward to not only just having our cookie dough bars, but we have a lot of future products in store, um, kind of in our pipeline.
So exciting. Well, gosh, Todd, I think those were all of the questions I had for you, but was there anything else about Wodo that you wanted listeners to know? They should all be getting Wodo in their January box, and we'll send them all to your Instagrams and your website so that they can reorder. But anything about the brand, the mission that you want them to know before I let you go?
No, I mean, I think it's really just, we're appreciative of you putting our bars in the box. We're appreciative of everyone who purchases the boxes. And, really, if you like Wodo, please go to social media. Please tell your friends. Please tell your family. It's really about making a difference in people's lives. And we believe that's what Wodo does for the people that can't have your typical cookie dough. So we just want people to snack happy.
I love it. I will say my cousin has celiacs, and when I got the first sample of Wodo, I was like, "Oh, you got to try this!" And she was so excited. She loves it. She's like, "Where did you find this?" So anyway, it really is just fun to see her get to experience something that she hadn't really gotten to enjoy in the past. So
Yeah, no, that's super exciting. I just love hearing that story. And that's, I think the toughest thing at Wodo is how to find those people, right? So being a
yeah.
really small brand, having a very small budget, how do you find all the people out there that have gluten allergies or need to be plant based or can't eat egg or soy or dairy? And so I think it's, the connections with you and others allows us that opportunity to get our product in so many people's hands. And we're just confident that once people try it, they'll love it.
Yeah, what's not to love? It's so good. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Nothing But Good podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show, and if you did, we'd be so grateful if you could leave a review and share this episode with your friends. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed so that you are always the first to know when a new episode is released. And don't forget to follow @OGoodyBox on Instagram so you can get an even deeper look into how we decide which products get placed in our snack boxes. Last but not least, visit ogoodybox.com and make sure you use promo code PODCAST for 15% off your first box. Links to everything are in today's show notes. Until next time, happy snacking.